The CS2 sticker market just went insane. That's right. When we take a look at my screen currently, the Evil Geniuses Stockholm 2021 CSGO Holo increased 2,400% in the past 60 days. This is not a typo. Price Empire is, on this. This sticker alone increased 2,400% in the past 60 days. The sticker market for CS2 just witnessed one of the largest moves in quite some time. This is like the craziest move that I've, witnessed in a while. But what if I told you it wasn't just this sticker, right? If we look at this list here from Price Empire, we could see just across the board. Let me open this up in a new tab just so that you guys can see this. Let me zoom in because we do have the 2021 Stockholm Holo on the top. 2,400% in the last 60 days. That's huge. It's the craziest move on this list. But take a look at these other ones, right? We have the Evil Geniuses Holo from 2020 RMR, up almost 400% in the last 24 hours, up over 550+% in the last 7 days, 680% in the last 30 days. Then next we have the foil from Stockholm 2021. This one didn't increase like a crazy amount like these other ones, but still up 52% in the last 24 hours. That's a huge gain. 7 days, 110+%. 30 days, 216+%, which is huge. The gold from 2020 RMR, kind of typical behavior. Nothing too crazy there. Still some nice gains. Then we also have the Evil Geniuses Holo from Rio 2022. This was up 90, almost 6% in the last 24 hours. 461% in the last 7 days, 800 and almost 20% in the last 30 days, and then 700+% in the last 60 days. And the Evil Geniuses Gold Stockholm 2021, which you would expect this to increase more than the Holo, but it just looks better in the game, right? Like in terms of like the Holo compared to the Golds, I actually don't really like the Golds all that much. I do think that the Holos just look better, especially for a lot of sticker crafts, but that's why we're not seeing as crazy gains with like the gold compared to the holo, even though the gold is a little bit rarer than the holo anyways for like case openings. But also just going down the list, you could see some of these other ones, and let me just zoom out so that you guys can see, the full list here. I mean, 300% in 24 hours for the Stockholm 2021, just regular sticker for Evil Geniuses. I mean, guys, these gains are insane. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, it's probably market manipulation. Somebody was buying up all the supply, squeezing the demand. But what if I told you that this sticker was overlooked for quite some time? I mean, even when we think about Evil Geniuses themselves, it was kind of a team that a lot of people just overlooked in general and didn't really care about. So when we look at the sticker, I feel like it was kind of undervalued anyways compared to the other stickers in this capsule. But even looking at the chart here, it's just crazy to watch something like this. Now, a lot of people will try to predict something like this. A lot of people will say like, all right, well, what's the next big mover here? And I don't think anyone really will have an answer for you. I'm mainly looking at like when we think about these types of events, I'm mainly looking at events where, we do see something crazy or like we have, teams that are tied to these events that are doing very well. I mean, Evil Geniuses, I gotta say, like, I would not predict Evil Geniuses to have this crazy increase in value compared to, their performance at this event. I mean, they went 0-3 if we scroll down. They went 0-3 and they didn't really perform well at all. So the fact that we're starting to see this crazy gain here, it's questionable on why. But then when you think about the supply and demand, you can kind of see exactly why this started to squeeze to the upside. But what's crazy about this is if we look at the last 1 month, I mean, back in June, just like the end of June into the beginning of July, I mean, we were sub $3 and we just hit a high of $34+. We're 200+ sold. So they were literally selling at these prices. And even right now, you guys can see that people are just buying at $27. There's actually a lot of people, wanting to buy at $27 or 33 cents or even just a little bit lower. And you could see all of the demand here. I mean, there's 49, orders for $26.88, which is just wild to see. But if we look at the lifetime, I mean, guys, just back in May, this thing was like $1 or sub $1. And if we go back in time, you can kind of see like, buying something like this where you have that previous market performance, I mean, obviously, a lot of the holos during like CS2's launch went crazy because they looked great in game. They always looked good, even in CSGO as well. But they look even better in CS2. So they all had like a nice spike. But then after that, they kind of flatlined. And this is where you kind of want to look into, buying a decent amount of stickers, especially ones that are not in rotation anymore. Because the supply to demand ratio will start to squeeze. And that's when you start to see these crazy, spikes to the upside. But this is definitely wild to witness. The question is like, what stickers will be valued at something like this at some point in time in the future? Like, how can we predict something like this? And it really is almost impossible. But like I said, I am looking at stickers that could be, a good investment, at this point. And I really kind of look at past previous events, like for an example, Shanghai 2024. I think that a lot of the holos in this look incredible. And some of them have already increased significantly in value. For an example, Mao's increased like a crazy amount. If we actually look at the chart for this, I mean, this thing went from dollars all the way up to like $30+ already. But some of these other stickers, like for an example, if we look at Team Spirit, again, just taking a look at this, do we think that this is undervalued? It definitely could be, but it's not in the dollar plus range where, we can invest into it and buy a massive amount of the supply, waiting for it to hit like $10+. But the main thing that I'm looking at here is, was all of the stickers in this capsule undervalued prior to this major move? When we take a look at the Evil Geniuses Stockholm 2021 sticker itself, I mean, obviously this was undervalued. It was sub $1 at some points here. If we look at the other stickers, we have, for an example, Flames, right? This is Stockholm 2021 Copenhagen Flames holo. If we look at the view here, I mean, it hit about like $12 or so. And for the most part, it wasn't extremely flatline, like where it was sub $1 or anything like that. The gains here are not as significant for Evil Geniuses, but this could show you that Evil Geniuses was actually a little bit undervalued compared to some of these other stickers that were included in this capsule. For an example, even Entropic, if we look at this, again, this was not sub $1, it's around $3. So you could see the market difference here. Even if Evil Geniuses didn't perform, all of the other stickers in this capsule were significantly higher in value. Here we have another one, $4 plus. This is for the, let's go back. So this is for the Movistar Riders. And again, it was around like $5+ almost. And during this time, Evil Geniuses is just flat. Gambit Gaming as well. Again, if we look at this one was actually sub $1. So this would have been a very good one to look into. This one might even squeeze back to $8 from where it currently is, but we're already starting to see that market squeeze happen in real time. In terms of Furia, again, Furia is a solid team. This one also squeezing to the upside, but again, not even sub $1. There's only a few within this capsule alone. And by the way, the capsule itself is actually extremely cheap. I mean, it's $1.94 right now on Skinport across the board. You can get this for like about roughly $1.50 or so average. And if we look at the long-term view here, I mean, it's starting to squeeze in price, but not even close to where it was back here in 2023 when we originally saw Evil Geniuses in terms of the sticker itself go crazy. But it's just wild to me that this is happening. But the thing to learn from this is looking at the market dynamic, okay? Like Evil Geniuses, it's not just squeezing out of nowhere because, oh, market manipulation or, buying and selling demand, which definitely demand goes into it. And I'm sure that the supply did get squeezed a bit. The main thing to focus on here was how undervalued this sticker was compared to all of the other stickers in this capsule. So I think what happened was, maybe people were looking into this. The original view here, and let's just actually kind of zoom in a little bit. I think we started to originally squeeze back here where we just started to see, I mean, you could see the offers available like 1,800, 1,700, 1,100, 1,500. The supply just started to diminish here. Obviously, the market started to squeeze during this time. You could actually see it change here. So offers available kind of skyrocketed during this time because everyone was like, wow, I mean, the market's going crazy. You know, the sticker's back to like $6. You know, we were buying this under $1. All of a sudden, you see the market change 930, 906, 858. Then all of a sudden, you start to see a lot more people trying to offload, but 723, then back to 1,000 plus. So it was simply just buying demand. Everyone was buying this up while it was squeezing to the upside. And I don't blame them. I mean, listen, during this time, if we think about it, this would have been a perfect time to be buying. All you had to really do was look into this capsule, and you could even do that with any capsule now, right? Like if you look into, I mean, let's go back to the Shanghai 2024. You know, we're looking at some of these prices here, and you can kind of look into some of these other stickers within this that might not be as expensive. And again, the holos are definitely the main focus here, I think. I think that we should be looking into the holos. Like, for example, Vitality. You know, even if Vitality didn't win or they didn't perform well, which, I mean, let's just be honest, it's Vitality. But if we think about this sticker alone compared to all the other ones within this capsule, I would say that this is pretty undervalued compared to these other ones. So that's pretty much all it really is just looking into the dynamics of the market, kind of basing it off of logic. If, you know, all of these other stickers are starting to climb in value, or if they're significantly higher than what Evil Geniuses was during this time, maybe it wouldn't have been a bad investment. But it's crazy to watch this happen in real time and just kind of see how quick things can change. This is why I always say, you know, kind of just have a level head here and think logically on what could be a good investment. It doesn't always have to be based on team performance or, you know, how they did at an event, because again, Evil Geniuses did not perform well. But the sticker itself doesn't look too bad in game. If we actually look at it, right, it looks pretty decent. It's a typical holo. But also it was undervalued anyways compared to market dynamics with all of the other stickers within this capsule. So this is something that you could take as a lesson to learn from, that could definitely help you going forward. But this definitely is crazy. I look forward to seeing how, you know, I'm excited to see what happens next here, right? I'm excited to see what sticker goes even crazier than this next, because I'm sure that there's going to be another big mover here. I would say if you guys really wanted to look into investments, you know, go back a little bit in time, go back to 2023, maybe 2022, or even, you know, go to a recent event. I think that some of these recent events, like for an example, Shanghai 2024, you know, they could have, you know, some pretty good investments, especially when we compare some of these stickers. Like for an example, we look at Team Spirit and we look at Mao's. I mean, these things are $10+. You know, I know that Mao's and Team Spirit are two dominant teams, but what about Vitality? Vitality is sub $2 here, and I feel as if it could easily catch up to these two stickers here in terms of demand. So, you know, maybe look into that, kind of compare it with, you know, how these teams are today, how popular they are, because we could see demand squeezed, and that's where all of a sudden you see that big push in value. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, and turn notifications on to never miss a future update. And with that being said, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.